Hello, it's me, and I'm going to continue / finish my little exploration of supercuboids, which are cuboids that have shape variations or sticker variations with a 4x4x6 version. And I'm going to use Crazybadcuber's Crazypill. But it is a nice challenge, and there is an important variation on how to deal with something like this. Even if you had just a sticker mod, it's not so much the shape that's different that makes this challenging, it's the fact that the stickers are different. And you can actually put your own set of stickers on this and really get the same kind of a challenge. But I thought I would highlight that with this interesting pill-shaped puzzle. Now when looking at this, and you'd find it the same if you had a sticker mod over here, is that you actually have a bunch of different potential solve positions. You can see the centers here are four colors here, edges, and I can actually hold it like this as a solve position just as much because there's no consistent center that it needs to be. So this is as much of a solve position as well. Same thing over here. The other challenge of this particular puzzle is the fact that when it's scrambled, like all barrel type puzzles, it sometimes is a little hard to follow when you're ready to turn it, you know, what sides are what. So you can see this is a side over here, but you can imagine if you turn it just a little bit off, you might lose your perspective as to where that is. So it does increase the challenge with that. As you know, this is a shapeshifter, much like the 3x3x5, but the added challenge to this is the fact that we have multiple edges that have to be reduced, and that's going to translate a little differently here. So we'll go through the scramble and the solution of this just to show how this works. Here we'll do some 180-degree scrambles just to demonstrate this puzzle. I don't know if Crazybad has made more of these. I certainly would recommend it. It's a very fun puzzle. It is a version 1, so you do have to hold it carefully so that things don't fall out. And I just want to get a good scramble here. The better the scramble, the more the challenge. So these are just 180 degree. So you can see very quickly, even with 180 degree in the pill form, it's hard to say where things are at, but it's easy to see how well it scrambles. Now in terms of shape shifting, we can come across here. We can shapeshift it right on the outside. So as you know, because it's a 4x4x6, after a while, when you shapeshift it, it becomes the lowest common denominator, which in this case would be a 4x4. So I'm just going to shapeshift it a little more here, and then when I think I've done enough, we start shapeshifting it from the middle, and we can continue like this. So this is where things get really skewed with this puzzle over here. And so turn it and scramble it in all kinds of directions. So what I'm going to do is continue the process of scrambling and see how the solve actually goes. So I'm going to correlate it with the scramble of this as well. So abracadabra. Okay, very nice. So we start off, as with all shapeshifters, whether it's this or the cuboid version of it, doing a 4x4 solve, which means we get all of the centers and we get all of the edges. We reduce it the way that we would reduce any 4x4. So as you recall, if I were to quickly do this one, really nothing new under the sun here. We find the area that is a 4x4 center. Turn, 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 turn. Now, when I'm getting the centers, right now I'm on the last two centers. With the last two centers, I don't have to worry about any issues of orientation. This can be here, or rather this can be here, this can be here. It really doesn't matter. So when doing this, the last two centers of a non-supercuboid, then it doesn't really matter how these are put in. There's no specific orientation. So I'm just going to move this down here, turn this back here, move this up across here, here, and here. So what we have is we have the last two centers that are in. So now how am I going to translate that to this? And I'm just going to kind of do each step by step. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and put centers in much the same way. Now I can define centers to be anywhere that I want, actually. But let's start off with maybe some that are easy to find. Here's a red center over here. We have to decide which are our centers and which are our edges. For instance, are these centers over here, centerpieces? Now understand with this too, is here you had one color that are all the centerpieces. Here you don't. These are centerpieces, but you don't have one complete red center. it's obviously it's not going to make sense. So each of these centers are going to consist of different colors. Now in this case, this obviously isn't going to work, so I'm going to put all the different colors of this shape over here because this is the top part of the pill or the bottom part of the pill. So what I'm going to do is just start putting in proper center pieces, and each piece is going to have a different color to it. So it's really just a matter of putting 4 unrelated pieces together. And understand there's no set order to this. There's no set color pattern. You're deciding what that is because I showed you that there's a couple of different solved states to this particular puzzle. We saw that with other types of puzzles too, such as the Trashbirds octahedron. Anyway, so now what I'm doing is I'm calibrating the puzzle. I'm now defining this as this is going to be the color of my centers over here. So now what I'm going to do is continue to follow suit. What I can do is quite simply put these bottom centers in. And it could be really in any order. So why don't we put this down in conjunction with this side over here. That's the interesting thing about this puzzle is you want to maintain perspective. So turn, turn, and turn. It just so happens that top and bottom are going to be easiest to get in. This has to get in here as well. So we'll turn this over here. What I'm going to do is cast the net here, turn, 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 and turn. I'm still moving this pretty cautiously so that nothing falls out. And now we do the white one, so I'm just going to put the white one in. Bring it down, move it out of the way, bring this part down, move it back. So this is a simple big cube center placement. Bring this back up, turn it, and bring this up. Okay. So now that I'm defining a top and a bottom, now I have to define these guys. Now this I can do based upon the colors over here. So this color scheme has to make sense. So this is red and orange. So I've got a red here, but as you can see, this is not exactly the place that it wants to be. I'm sure it is. Here's what I mean by this. This is kind of tipped upside down. So if I tip it here, this looks, or actually on its side, this looks like it's more in the position that it wants to be. So I can move this over here. So this correlates with here. So this is going to be next to a blue, but it's not going to be this blue because it doesn't have the right look to it and it's not really fitting flush. So let's find another light blue, which is going to be in this layer somewhere, probably this one over here. So I'm going to match that to this red over here. So let's match it up. Turn this to the side. So it's this kind of assembling that makes this kind of cuboid fun. So you can see this latches together pretty nicely. So I'm calibrating the puzzle right now towards the centers. So now with that said, I move this in, and this is going to be work. So all these edges are going to be of this color over here. So I'm going to continue. What about these two? Well, these two are going to have to correlate with this. I like the orange here, but I need a blue over here. So let's go ahead and find a blue. Now the particular mod that you may have or that you may have made might not look exactly like this, but might have a similar type of a scheme. Perhaps a similar shape, or maybe a similar type of a color scheme. Move this into here. So I think it was yellow and dark blue, so it's going to be this one. Move this here. Move these in together, and then turn. The good thing with these first 3 centers is they're fairly easy to put in without messing anything up. Do we like it? Yeah, we like it. So next center over here, and you can see that they correlate with these colors over here. So the rest falls in pretty simply. This red goes over here because this whole section here is going to be one color. So red, red, and red. The next one is going to be orange, so orange is going to come in next. Which one? Well, this one, no, because it looks like it's on its side. So how about this one? Yeah, this one makes sense. It kind of has a tail over here, much like this has on this side over here. So what I'm going to do is move these next to each other. So move them to the side, bring this over here so that it's next to it. Then I'm going to move it across, and then I have to move this back so that way it retains this side over here. All right, so we're doing well. Now how about down here? Well, I need a green, a light green. Which one? Well, I don't think it's going to be that one because it doesn't really fit flush. You can see it sort of has a little notch over here. So it's probably going to be this one. So this one just isn't facing correctly. But I also know that the blue is supposed to be next to it. So why don't I move this out, or actually just move it in correlation with the blue, probably this one here. So I'm just going to bring this next to it, turn, move this down, and turn. So I just move this blue here. Now I'm just going to move this in so that it's next to the blue. Like so. Then turn, so this fits nicely. Turn, and bring it back. So again, it's really just more assembly than solving. So these are all in, and this is in. So now we're down to the famed last two centers. And we can't do it the same way that we did the last two centers over here. It was pretty easy. Because here, each place has a very specific position that it has to go to. Which means we're going to need something of an algorithm to get through that. Something that I can keep things in one position and then put another one in a very specific position. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on one center over here. I've got orange here, I need to put in the green, and it's going to be this green. So this green is on the wrong place. Or is it this green? Actually, nope, it's not that green. It's going to be this green. So what I'm going to do is just move this out of the way. I'm not going to do anything fancy as of yet. Turn, and then turn it down. Now I'm going to have to move this green to here. So what I'll do is just move it in conjunction with this piece here. So I'm keeping it simple. Turn it down, bump it out of the way, move it back. That way I'm not taking any of these out of its position. And then I move it back in. Okay, so this is fine over here. So I need white and green. Let's make sure I didn't make that same mistake here. So here's white, and I need this green. So these two have to correlate with each other. So I'm going to put this next to its proper white, which is, I think, this one. So move this over here. Now that these are in conjunction with each other, turn it over here so I can move it back in. So I pretty easily was able to put this center over here, so now I'm dealing with the last one. So how do I conduct myself with this guy? Well, let's see what we've got. It's all skewed. So you can see that there's no pieces that are equivalent to each other. Now, to those who have tried 4x4 mods or 4x4 solves, you'll know that there's a certain kind of a parity that can happen if you assemble this 90 degrees off from where it's supposed to be. If you do that, you're going to end up with a certain type of parity. We'll see that with Megamorphings, which is a 4x4 puzzle. Now, in this particular case, the good news is you don't get that with this kind of 4x4 mod. So I invite you to look back at the tutorials called Principles of 4-Layer Supercubes, because I was getting a lot of questions regarding certain parities that emerge if you don't do the centers quite right. And there's two types of 4-layer supercubes, just to quickly review that. You've got this handsome guy here, this Megamorphings, where you notice you have centers that have some equivalencies to them. Then you've got something like this guy, the Tetrachus, where each center is completely unique. And although in this one you may have the same color scheme from one side to the next, you still can't substitute this center for this center over here. So because of that, because this has only one specific place to be, you're not going to have any problems once you've coordinated the place where the centers are supposed to go. They're only going to be in one particular place, so you're not going to end up with a rotation 90 degrees off. Once you coordinate them with each other, they're going to be where they're supposed to be. You can't do it 90 degrees off because you'll be able to see. However, here it is possible, because to do a 90-degree rotation means doing another swap. But what if I swap these two? I can end up swapping these two and then get a 90-degree rotation off and not be coordinated with the corners. So the question is, in the Crazypill, which one is it? Is it going to be something like this, where I have to put the corners in first before I put in the last center because I end up maybe rotating at 90 degrees? Or is it like this, where I don't have to worry about it? Think about it. Did you get it? Well, basically, the situation is that because each one of these are unique, and each one of these are individual, even though I do have 3 colors that are the same, I can't confuse one for another. If I put this into this slot, it'll be very apparent that it's the wrong one, because it's going to be facing, it's going to be rotated wrong. The way that this is shaped, this has sort of a taper over here, taper over here. This one obviously looks different. So just because the colors are the same with these 3, just like this, it doesn't mean that the placement is equivalent. And because I won't falsely equivocate it, I'm not going to confuse it. So once I put all of these centers in, this will not be put in by 90 degrees. So this is the center that we're at, and I don't have to put in corners first to see the orientation. I can just do it. And we'll see if the theory is correct. But in any case, this is correct. The way that you do this algorithm is you're going to do one where what this algorithm is going to do is it's going to take this, put this to here, and this to here. Everything else is going to be the same, but this is going to be flopping around. So what I want to do is start putting things in where they're supposed to be. If this is here, I need to get this one over to here, and I need to get this over to here. So I think what I can do is, since this white one is supposed to be right below this green one, it might be easy for me just to go over to here and then do the algorithm once. Because what the algorithm is going to do is flip this to here. So this will come up to here, this will come down to here, and at least this will be flipped up to here. And what that algorithm is, which is just a variation of what I did before regarding putting all the other centers in. And it's also a variation of a corner swapping algorithm. And again, nothing you needed to do with this puzzle at all. But if you do get a 4x4x6 supercube, you've got to do it this way, just like a 4x4 supercube. So I took my 4x4 6 supercube, and right now I've converted it into a 4x4 supercube. So that's going to be R with the middle one being R, line it up correctly, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. Then I do a U just to get this back in the original position. So you can see this one has come out. Now you can see why. You can see that this is in the wrong position. Even if I had confusion with the colors, this simply doesn't seem to fit into here, which is why even though the colors are the same, the shapes aren't. So it's the shape that saves the day. Anyway, I can turn this back down here. And as you can see, this white is where it's supposed to be, coordinated with these, and this green is where it's supposed to be. So this becomes something that's in. Now, these two, let's see, what about these two? So this one needs to come over to here. So this one needs to come right next to this one. So what I'm going to do is we're going to move these two to the bottom. And this is going to have to come right next to the white. So I'm going to, just to demonstrate that, this yellow must come over here. So I'm going to move this over here so that that algorithm will make it do that. Because this will come here, this will come here, and this will come here. So we'll do our algorithm here, R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, and L. Okay, so now we can take a look at what we've got. We'll go ahead and move this one back, like so. Okay, let's see what we've got here. All right, so we like this: yellow, white, green, blue, and now this is all in as well. So I've kind of refined how I've been doing this over the years, but to me this is the simplest way. So now we've got all of our centers in, and yeah, green, green, white, white, white. So all that's fine, and again, I don't have to worry about parity issues. The next step, of course, is edge pairing. Now really quickly with edge pairing here, the edges that we're talking about, and we have to be careful that we define this right, is I do the terminal edges. So it's the one right at the end here. You can see there's edges that come out on the 6-layer portion, then there's edges that don't come quite so far out. But I have to remember, it's these. These pieces here I ignore. The way that I do shape-shifting solves is this is going to come next. I don't do it based on this, I do it based on this. So if I see white and green, I'm just going to find another white and green right over here. Move it in a position to where it can be moved in the proper place. And then what I'm going to do is move it down to here, making sure that I have an edge that can be disrupted, act as a sacrificial lamb, so to speak. So I have to move it down from the center here, join this up, bat it out of the way, move another edge in here, replace it, and get my center back. So there you have it over here. A typical 4x4 solve. So I'm just going to blast through that. Okay, now I have the last two edges. Of course, with the last two edges, it's the algorithm designed to flip these. I don't think we have any more that we have to do. This will put this to here and this to here. So turn this to the side and go like R, F-I, U, R-I, F, and swing it on back. So believe it or not, we actually have all of our edges. And as we have all of our edges in, the next step is that we finish our 4x4 solve. After finishing our 4x4 solve, we'll have it in the cuboid form and have the top, middle, and bottom layers done. So let me prove that to you. And you will find that at this point, you have yourself back into the cuboid form. And with the top part, the middle part, both these middle layers part solved and this solved. So then we can move to the next step. But let's go ahead and translate that with this. Now, edge placement. What I have to bear in mind is do not do these edges. It's got to be these edges here. Now, this is a little more complicated because here the color, I was able to whip through this quickly because the colors guided me. Here the colors will also guide me as well as the shape, but the colors are not going to be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to do the edges from the top here first because that's easier for me to visualize. So what is this paired with? Is it paired with yellow? Is it paired with green? Could be either one of those, but there's only one that it actually matches. So what I have to do is I actually have to set this up so that I can figure out which one this is supposed to be next to. So what I'm going to do is turn this like so and turn this up. Now this is equivalent to this piece over here, because if I were to move this, it's going to end up over here, which means that I'm looking for one just to the right of it, which is going to be yellow. So I'm going to find the yellow one, which is here. Now, is this the correct one? Well, we'll find out. I'm going to move this up here and here, and you can see that it's not the correct one, because if I put it so that it's just next to this, it's not going to match up. So it's actually not this one. So it's the other yellow one that's at the top here. Turn, so this will move into here. And the technique is the same. Move it down from the center, so now these two are lined up. Then once you do that, bat it out of the way, move this one down, bring this back, and move this up. Now this aspect of it that makes it a supercuboid is fairly unique to it, but we've seen this with other puzzles before, so that's still not what makes this one unique. That step is coming up. The thing that makes the Crazypill different from the rest and a little more of a challenge is coming up. And when I move this up, you can see that this is correct. I'm going to keep this here so that I remember not to touch that one, because now that I have that in, I have to make sure I don't destroy it. So what about this white one? Which white one is this equivalent to? I've got a white one over here, which means I'm going to look for the green one here. So here's a green one. Is it the correct green one? I can tell already that it's not. It's not going to match up with this. So I have to find the other light green, which is over here. It's this guy here. So that gets moved into position here. I have to move this out of the way temporarily. And this is going to line up with this white over here. I have to move this out of the way because I'm about to sacrifice whatever's over here. So I'm just going to move this down like so. I don't know if I want to sacrifice this one. It might actually accidentally be correct. Move this down, so this is correct. Bump it to the side. Move this down, across, and up. Okay, so now I've got this guy in place. And again, I'm just going to hold its place here so that I remember what I did and not mess it up. And we'll move this over here. Every so often I've got to check my work because I may have messed something up and not even realize it. Okay, so what else? Now here's this green and blue. Are they actually, did I get lucky, and does this happen to be the right configuration here? Let's see. And the answer is yes. So let's just move this out of the way. And we'll bat this one down so you can see this happens to be correct. So I'm just going to hold that place over there. So now I can start looking for the other ones. So where's the other green? The other green is going to match with the other blue. So that's going to be easy to find. So here's the other green. And now where's the other blue of the same nature? Right over here. So I'm going to move this into formation. Move down here and here. Okay, I don't want to mess this up. So I will mess this up. Whether it's in or not, I don't know. And I don't care. Oh, okay. I don't want to use this one rather. So I'm going to move this over here. So I know this one doesn't get messed up. So turn this in so that now this is in. Bump it out of the way. Turn it down. Across and up. This way I can keep track of the fact that I'm using all of these guys first. Okay, so I know that these are in. I need the white and yellow. It's obviously not this yellow, it's this one. So move this down, turn, 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 and move it up. Great fun. So here's this light blue, it's got to be red. Here's a red. So let's see if it's the correct red. And I think it is. I don't want to move it out from this one. So this will be my sacrificial lamb here. Move this down. And then turn, 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 swing it up. Okay, I'm just going to move this to the side here. I already know where this place is. So green, blue, green, orange. Which one is it? Well, here's the green. And here's the orange. Well, it's not this one, it's this one. So move it down, you can see it lined up. Turn, turn, turn. And move it back. Okay, now we have this, we need this red and orange. So it's the other orange, this one. Kind of skewing it a little bit. Okay, and I think this is the last one of the top and bottom edges that I have to worry about. So move this in, turn, 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 and up we go. Okay. So now I have to do these guys. We have a green and orange, so I can focus on that. This is actually not oriented correctly. As you can see, there's a little bit of a notch here. So here's green. Now what green does this match up with? Well, there's only one thing that it is going to match up with. Every green is going to be associated with a white. So this is green and white over here, this is green and white over here. You're not going to get an edge that's orange and green. The reason is because it's not oriented like this, it's oriented like this. So it's going to be just below the layer that's above this is not one that we're using yet, so don't worry about that. The only thing I need to worry about is what's right next to green, which is always white. So I'm just going to look for a white and put it in. Here's a white over here. So green and white over here. So let me find something that I can use to substitute it with. I'm just going to arbitrarily pick this one. So turn this down here to match the green and white. Turn this across. Substitute it with this one, and very quickly, before I lose perspective completely, move my center back. All right, so I know green and white is done. How about this light green over here? Light green is next to an orange, so it's going to be this orange. So now I don't really care about perspective, I'm just putting them in. Now I just put this green and white, I just have to remember that, so I'm going to put this one in. this red and yellow because I haven't done red and yellow. So this comes into here because I know green and orange, light green and orange, are supposed to be together. Turn, 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 and up. So I have to keep the centers consistent or else I'll never get my edge placement too well. So these are in. Okay, how about red or blue? Well, red and blue are supposed to be next to each other anyway, so we're good. I think we've actually got all of our edges placed.